Good morning, everyone. I thought I would just go through the paper assignment just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. So you can find the assignment in two places. I've been putting it into the weeks, and this week on Wednesday, asking you to post the assignment, the proposal, which is an intro and outline, and inside of that assignment is where you'll find some samples. Basically, you're going to be writing an intro paragraph with an outline, an intro paragraph that ends in your thesis with an outline that goes through the main parts of the paper. Under the table of contents in assignments, I have the actual assignment and the motive and thesis explanation. So I'm just going to go through these briefly. Basically, you're going to be writing a 1,000 to 1,500 word paper, 3 to 5 pages, motive and thesis driven on a comparison of Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart and Nawal al-Saadawi's Women at Point Zero, or FIRDIS. Your focus should be on the differences between a third-person narrator and a first-person narrator. So a third-person omniscient in Chinua Achebe's book, Things Fall Apart, we're guided from an outsider's perspective, and versus the first-person perspective in Women at Point Zero. I've given you some topics, men. Clearly, this has been a hotly debated topic in the class, the misogyny or the critique of misogyny. The critique of men in these cultures. Religion, obviously the Igbo faith versus the Christian missionaries who come in for Chinua Achebe, and of course the Muslim faith in Saadawi's book. And finally, Pyrrhic heroism, both the main characters, Okonkwo and FIRDIS, sacrifice themselves in these novels for a greater cause, and I'm asking you to weigh in on the extent to which their acts are selfless or altruistic or selfish, acts of defeat. I just want to point out that, this week has been kind of interesting with the Vietnam documentary coming out last week. The last line of Achebe's book is the district commissioner saying that he has been writing a book, and it's called The Pacification of the Primitive Tribes of the Lower Niger. And this term pacification is really interesting. They used it in Vietnam to talk about how the French and then the Americans would come in and give the villages vaccinations, and then, they also helped them produce more commerce. And so, the colonial project of a first world power, like France, United States, or in this instance England, comes in and offers the natives, the indigenous, all of these benefits. But of course, in the transaction, they lose their sense of identity. The culture falls apart for Achebe. So pacification, very interesting last idea in that text. And with Women at Point Zero, the thing I want you to think about is the way that the narrator and actually the author, right? So Achebe is a really world-weary intellectual. He actually taught at UMass Amherst for a few years back in the, I think, late 70s, early 80s. And, he writes the book in English for English-speaking people. So he's very much sort of putting the Nigerian situation on the map, whereas Saadawi writes in Arabic, largely for Arabic women. As you can tell, the novel is really kind of directed. It's almost like speaking directly to women. And then it gets translated in the late 80s into English. So it's not really a book that seemed to have been meant for outside readers. So that might be something you want to be thinking about, the way that Achebe's book is sort of exposing that culture to a larger international audience, whereas Saadawi's book is doing something different. It seems to be written in the language of the culture for that culture. All right. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys cook up.